When we don't fully realize what we have, it's going to be very difficult to turn that into more. Welcome to Unifier TV, where truth has no fear. That fact is very much true in all aspects of life and all in everything. But more specifically, I'm actually referencing the verse in Mark chapter 6, where Jesus split the five loaves and two fish and fed the 5,000 plus. It wasn't just 5,000, it was 5,000. That wasn't even including the women and children. So it was 5,000 men plus the women and children. So 5,000 plus. He actually did it on two different occasions, if not three. But uh, he did this using what was already there, even though it looked like it wasn't enough. This is a very powerful message, and it's a very undervalued message. And if we don't truly take hold of what we already have, what we already possess, it may be a little difficult to turn that into more. See, it's not always just a level of appreciation. It's a perspective. Once we truly shift our focus, as opposed to worrying about what we do not possess, what we want more than what we already have, if we don't learn to shift our focus and learn to value what we already have and then turn that into something greater, we're not going to appreciate what's already in front of us. It can turn into an ungrateful nature if we don't learn how to do this. So it may not start off as an ungrateful way to be, but it can definitely turn out that way if we don't fix this. Well, see, when Jesus asked his disciples, what did they have? Because see, the disciples were ready to turn the people away. It was getting late. Jesus was doing some healings in the area, and the disciples said, "Look, it's getting dark. Let's send them away so they can go somewhere and eat." Well, Jesus, well, hey, you feed them. So the first thing they thought about is, how are we gonna do that? How are we gonna feed them when we don't have enough? We don't have enough to feed these people. But see, Jesus asked them that for a reason. He already knew that they would say this. He already knew what it looked like, but he asked them specifically, "What do you have? Go see." So when they came back with the five loaves and two fish, yeah, he was a little disappointed. It's like, okay, well, there you go, five loaves and two fish. But see, most people wouldn't think that way. Five loaves and two fish to feed 5,000 plus people is not something that most of us would think to be enough. But him working with them for all those years, they didn't learn that factor yet, or didn't take hold to the fact of faith and what faith can do, and what the power of God is, and how you can move mountains with a little bit of faith. So the faith of Jesus was enough to break the five loaves and two fish into enough to feed 5,000 plus and have fragments left over in the amount of, was it, seven baskets of fragments? So this is a very valuable lesson for us. If we don't learn how to take hold of and appreciate and truly value what is in front of us, and learn how to turn that into more, and see it as something that can be multiplied, we're going to completely diminish and disrespect and not appreciate all the gifts and values and things that we already possess. It's so easy to do this, it's crazy. Now, I'm not coming down on anybody, because a lot of us do it on a daily basis. It seems like a very easy thing to do, especially with the society we have today, with what they're doing with the value of the dollar, what they're doing in our grocery stores. There's a whole lot of reasons why it's hard to look at what we have. It's not always a monetary thing, but in all aspects of it, it's so easy to look at what we want more so than what we have that can turn into what we want. So we need to get our focus in order, shift our perspective a little bit, and realize that we are more than enough. We have more than enough, and what we currently have is what it seems like. This could be small. If we trust in God and we operate in faith, He can turn what is small or nothing in a lot of people's eyes into the greatest thing to ever walk the earth, the greatest thing anyone's ever seen. See, people who have come up with grand ideas, people have done great things. A lot of them didn't always start off as something that people wanted, something that people value, something that people appreciated. It took some fight, it took some effort, it took some courage, it took a whole lot of faith, it took some blood, sweat, and tears. So a lot of that is a shifting of perspective. Take a look at some of the people you respect and value the most. How did they start out? What did they have to go through? Look at some people who invented some things. How did people appreciate it when it first came out, or didn't appreciate it when it first came out? And now look where it could be. Look where it is. And some things didn't last, but it's all about perspective. It's all about appreciation. It's all about valuing what's in front of you and trusting God to turn that into more. The Bible says, if you're not faithful in that which is least, how can you be faithful in that which is greatest? That's very much true. And I know how hard it is to remain faithful and positive in the midst of so many different crazy things going on. Trust me, I know. But then once you shift your perspective and say, you know what, I've gone through worse, I've had less, and what I have, I know this is going to take off. I know this is going to work. There's no way this cannot work. I know there's a value in this, whether people see it yet or not, because they will. You have to keep your foot on the gas. You have to keep the pressure on, and you have to stay in all out faith and realize that the little 5 loaves and 2 fish that you have will definitely feed 5,000 plus.